Good morning, everybody. It is the first day of the reading rush, and I'm so excited. I just woke up. I look like I belong in Clueless. That's fine. I'm cool with it. And I am so excited to get reading and get started. I know Chantel has already started reading today, I'm pretty sure. And I'm going to get started with The Underground Abductor. I had a pretty taxing weekend, so I'm excited to just have something to like ease into it. And I'm not going to start with like a huge novel. So I think this will be a quick read. I'm hoping I can finish it today. Hoping I can read it all outside, but it's like 100 degrees here, so we'll see. Wish me luck. Good morning, everybody. It is the second day of the reading rush. Yesterday was a total wash. I am having to actually quarantine at my sister's in her basement for the next 2 weeks. So yesterday was kind of a process of like getting over here, getting set up, that kind of thing. But now that I'm here, I don't have anything to do except for read. So I'm going to finish this today and then get started on another book. I don't know which one I'll choose next, but I have high hopes for finishing everything. Stuck in a basement alone. What else is a girl gonna do? Also, I realize that may sound kind of scary, but no, I do not have COVID. I'm just being safe and staying away from people from the next 2 weeks just to be a responsible human. So, no COVID so far. Fingers crossed. So I just finished The Underground Abductor in like an hour. I loved the artwork. Yeah, it was a good, informative book. I liked it more than She Came to Slay. But it was also, it was kind of a choppy read. Like it was a very short graphic novel. So it felt like just a very brief story. And then I decided my next book that I'm going to read is No Country for Old Men by Cormac McCarthy. I wanted to kind of like intersperse all of the genres that I'm reading this week to kind of keep it more interesting. So I'm going to try to spread out the graphic novels and spread out the fiction and all of that. But now it is time for a nap, which I'm very excited about. I just woke up from my nap. What time is it? What day is it? I don't know. Crazy hair. Totally fine. So I am like 70 pages into No Country for Old Men. And so far it's exactly like the movie. Like step by... Also, this is my sister's dog, Rue. Hi, Rue. Oh, how attractive. So far it's exactly like the movie. Like word for word, line for line. So it's not that exciting to read yet because I remember this part of the movie pretty vividly. Also, I'm not feeling great, so that's fun. But Ruru is being she's being very, very snuggly and sweet, but I think she's over it now. Are you excited about the reading rush? Nope. So it is around 9:45 at night. I am showered and I made some changes to my TBR. I was originally going to read the second book in the Cemetery of Forgotten Book series, but I decided instead I wanted to read the prologue first because that's the order it was published. It was published the first book, the prologue, the second, and the third. So I'm going in the way of publishing. I'm reading this book first, which is much longer than Prisoner of Heaven. So don't know why I made that change really, but we're gonna see how it goes. And then the other change that I made, I was supposed to read My Dark Vanessa as the first book that I touched, but I only have it here in St. Louis on audiobook, and I didn't want to listen to it completely on audiobook, so I redid my touching challenge and laid out a bunch of books that I have here on the floor and touched one. So I'm going to be reading A Man Called Ove instead, which I'm really excited about because Chantel and I wanted to read that this month or next month anyways. So those are my two changes. I am still about like 110 pages into No Country for Old Men, and I think I'm 80 pages into The Angel's Game, this one. I really like the structure of the Cemetery of Forgotten Books series because the prologue, why do I keep saying prologue? Prequel is a completely separate story from the second and third book. I don't actually know what the third book is about because I haven't read it yet, but I'm rereading this one. I just finished the first one, and then I'll be reading the second. This is very confusing, sorry. But the first, second, and third, I think, all follow this same family. And the prequel is the family is in the book, but they're like periphery characters, and it follows a different story. And I like that because it gives us more context, like rounds out the entire series and gives us more context of like the city and what's going on at the time in a perspective other than just the families. I'm realizing, I haven't reread these books since college, and I knew that I liked them, but these books were really good, like really well written and really beautiful. Also, I don't know if you can tell, but half my face is swollen. You can't really tell, but it happens like every 3 months. Half of my face swells up. This isn't as bad normally. It's like out to here. I think it's allergies. Couldn't tell you. If anybody knows what that is, why that happens, let your girl know, because I should probably do something about it. It's really annoying. Also, I am really bummed because I was expecting to be back in my home during the reading rush, and I'm at my sister's, and I have a portion of my stuff with me, but not a lot because I'm quarantining and I didn't bring in, I'm whatever. And so for the cosplay challenges, the make the book cover or like recreate a book cover, I'm bummed because I feel like I am not in my own space with my own stuff, and I don't know what my sister has or what her wife has, and so I just can't be as creative as I would like to. And this is the first reading rush that I have participated in, so I didn't know like what was normal, what people generally do, but there's like a lot of effort that goes into this. So I'm excited for next year when I can like hopefully be in my own space and be able to be more creative. It's silly that I'm already looking forward to next year's reading rush, but I am already looking forward to next year's reading rush. Good morning. It is Wednesday, day 3. I stayed up a little bit longer last night, reading a little bit more of, or listening to, The Angel's Game. I'm on like, I don't even know, 120, something like that. Yesterday I only read like 280 pages all combined, and I did the math this morning. I have to read 340 pages every day for the rest of the readathon to finish my TBR. So I'm gonna get cracking. So I just finished No Country for Old Men. It's about 4 o'clock, I think. I took a break earlier and did some yoga, which was very helpful. I've been very lazy the past few days. So got my body moving, and then I sat down and I just read the rest of this pretty much in one go. I am still figuring out what I think about this book. I didn't love it. It's hard to know how I would feel about it if I hadn't have seen the movie first, because this book, it's written in such a like, he did this and then this, he took off his shoes and untied them and like put on his socks and put on his pants, and like it's a very step by step. So I think when they were creating the movie, it's like, okay, this is like literally what he's doing. So it didn't add that much from seeing the movie, and then I can't remember what happens in the movie after a certain point, so I don't know if it continues to follow the movie for the rest of the book. But I don't really love books that don't use quotation marks, or where you can't necessarily separate where the dialogue is coming from, because it's confusing. And I think in some books you can kind of like, you get into the groove of the writing, and I had a hard time doing that with this. And I don't know if it's because I was thinking about the movie and kind of like separate from it, but I think I would have liked it more had I not seen the movie, just because I wouldn't have been so like, okay, I know this, I think it would have been more interesting, which sucks. And I think I've read some of Cormac McCarthy's books in the past when I was in my early stages of college, and I don't think I liked them. So maybe I wouldn't have liked it. I don't know. Who knows? I think I'm going to end up giving it 3.5 stars. Just, maybe not. I don't know. Who knows? I'll put what I decide here. I'm gonna sit outside for a little bit longer because it's really nice out, and then I think I'm gonna eat something and start back up on the Angels game, because I've got a lot of reading that I need to do, and I think not reading anything on Monday kind of like set me back a little bit. So I realized that I hadn't actually said what this book is about. So basically it is about a man named Llewellyn who lives, this whole story takes place kind of on the Texas-Mexico border, and Llewellyn is a Vietnam vet, and he is like hunting in the desert, and he sees that there was a shootout that happened, and figures out that someone has taken money from a drug deal gone bad, and so he tracks down the money, takes the money, and then it is basically the story of him on the run and the cops after him, and then all these different, either law enforcement or drug cartel reinforcement. And there's one in particular named Sugar, who is like homicidal maniac, and if you've seen the movie or seen the trailers, he's the one that has like the creepy bowl cut, and it's basically just like a cat and mouse game of him on the run. And I think that I really like this story, and there's a lot about what the trauma of the Vietnam War does to people, and how violence becomes, part of your regular life. You don't know how to like go back to life as normal. So I just got out of the shower after taking a walk with my sister and my sister-in-law and their 3 dogs. I'm trying to decide if I want to keep reading The Angel's Game or start In the Dream House, which I've been wanting to read forever, or A Man Called Ove, which I've been wanting to read forever. Also, my sister told me she read this, and she's an English teacher, and she said this is actually A Man Called Uwe. But anyone know? Also, Chantel and I were talking earlier, and I was saying this is a lot of, it's intense. Like, people go all out for the reading rush, and it's like, I was telling her, it's like the Kentucky Derby of reading, or like the Super Bowl. Like, people are preparing for this for so long, and it's like, wow, we could be doing so much. But this is our first time, so we're trying to be easy on ourselves and just read as much as we can. I did earlier read about 50 more pages of The Angel's Game. I still have quite a long way to go. Wow, I kind of look bald, like a bald camp counselor. So that's a really cute look I've got going on. I thought I was going to be done vlogging for the night, and then I decided I felt really chatty, so I guess I'm not done. I am in bed, obviously, and I read about 50 pages of In the Dream House. So far, the writing is really good. It's a memoir by Carmen Maria Machado, and about an abusive female-female relationship. And in the beginning, she talks about how she hates prologues, but then writes one, and then talks about how it's important to, like, I don't know, history is so whitewashed, or not whitewashed, but like straight-washed, and there's so many different dynamics that aren't written about within communities of color or queer communities, and you just think that they don't exist in the past because no one's written about them, but people haven't written about them because they could be murdered or put in jail or whatever awful things. So I really appreciate that point of view of, like, we need to go back and look at history and realize that abuse comes in all forms. You're not safe just because you're in a female-female relationship, which can be scary, but it can also help you be empowered if you're in a situation and you're questioning if this is abuse, but you're like, no, women aren't abusers, and that's not the case. Like, that can happen. And then for whatever reason, I was like, well, not for whatever reason, just like thinking about the past few days here. I'm not quarantining because I have COVID or necessarily think I have COVID, but I was in a situation where I definitely could have been exposed. And so I chose, I'm in St. Louis, I'm not at home. If I wanted to go back home to Maine, I would have to drive 20 hours and expose myself to all these people along the road. So I thought it would be a good decision to stay here. And I figured it would be fine at my sister's because I would have the whole basement to myself, but there's no kitchen down here and there's no bathroom. So I have to go upstairs, which is where they are, to go to the bathroom and go to the kitchen, obviously. And they're like helping me with food and whatever. But if I actually had COVID, knock on wood that I don't, but if I did, how do people separate themselves from their family members who have it? And how do you choose who you're going to let into your area and help take care of you? Because my choices were my sister or my parents and my little sister. My little sister has Down syndrome and she still lives at home. And it's just kind of crazy to think about people having to make these choices between, okay, who am I going to potentially infect? My sister and her wife or my parents? And I don't know, this is just such a crazy time. And I feel very lucky that I have family members who I can rely on. Yeah, COVID's nuts. So that's my rant for the day. I think I crushed the 340 page goal today. I don't know for sure. I'll double check, but I'm feeling good, feeling like I'm in a much better place than I have in the past 2 days as far as reading goes. So good night. See you in the morning. Good morning. On day 4, it is Thursday. I don't even know what the days of the week are anymore. I never know what the days of the week are. Unemployed life. I've made a few decisions. The first is that I'm going to cut this vlog into 2 parts. Otherwise, it would be like an hour and a half long and no one wants to watch that. That would just be a lot of this face in one sitting. My other decision is that I'm going to be doing daily yoga. I started yesterday. I think I'm going to try to do it every day of quarantine. Wish me luck. And then my third decision is I'm going to try to drink. I think because I'm mostly in the basement right now. My sister and sister-in-law aren't home, so I'm upstairs. But I sound like they're like holding me in a dungeon. They're not holding me in a dungeon. I just want to keep my distance from them. And I think because I'm in the basement most of the time, I haven't been drinking a lot of water because the bathroom is up here. So I have been really dehydrated, and normally I drink a ton of water. So I'm going to try to drink 3 of these each day so that I can stay hydrated, especially because it's a lot hotter here than it is in Maine. Like a lot hotter. And then my last decision is that I am going to potentially change. So I guess it's not a decision. My potential last decision is that I'm going to change reading The Prisoner of Heaven. I was originally going to read it as set in a continent you don't live in, and then I decided I was going to change it to the book that I read outside my house. And then because I'm reading The Angel's Game, and it's just a very specific type of writing. Like, it's kind of gloomy and melancholy, and I love that, but it's like kind of a lot for a readathon to read 2 books back to back that have that same tone and vibe. So I think I'm going to switch that out with something more lighthearted to end the readathon. So, long way of saying that I'm probably going to change one of my books on my TBR, and if I don't, then I don't. I may not even have time to read it because I thought that I was doing really well yesterday with my reading, and I did. I mean, like, I read a lot, but I think I only read, let me check. I read 328 pages, which is lower than like what I have to read to finish every day. And I was like, oh, I crushed it. I did so great. No. So I'm going to pick up my reading pace today. I woke up a lot earlier than normal. I woke up at like 7:30, which I'm sure some people think that's late, but again, unemployed life. I woke up, I think, because I had a dream that my sister was attacked by a we were surfing. No, this is so uninteresting. No one cares about other people's dreams, but me and my 2 sisters were surfing, and my younger sister got trapped in a surfboard, like in the cord. And I was like, Robin, that's my older sister, we need to get out. We need to go. Kelly is having trouble. We need to go now. And Robin was like, no, it's fine. Everything's fine. And then she got attacked by a shark, like full chomp on the side. And sharks are my biggest fear, other than like loneliness and death and all of those things. But like my most natural fear is sharks. So I think that woke me up. And then I was like, I want to go hug my sister, but I can't hug my sister. So I made coffee instead. And now I'm going to read. It's time for coffee number 2 of the day. I haven't tried this My sister wanted me to save her the rest of the pot coffee, so I'm gonna try some of this. I generally like black coffee unsweetened. This is not too sweet. I don't know. I'll see. That's very sweet. Pardon the slurping, but that's sweet as shit. Ew. So it's already noon and I haven't even opened up a book yet. I have been editing the video, and Chantel and I normally divvy up editing like responsibilities, but since we're separated and I just kind of want to learn how to do the final editing stuff, so I have been doing that. And then I just went and played fetch with my sister's dog, Rue. So I think I'm finally going to sit outside for a little bit and start reading for the day. Alright, I know I look like a sweaty mess. I just went on another walk with my sister and her dogs. I'm about to do yoga, but I did finish In the Dream House by Carmen Maria Machado. My thoughts on this. There were things that I really liked about this. So it's not like a typical memoir in the sense that she kind of writes it like a fairy tale or like a folk tale. She kind of almost is like poking fun at the relationship and like how quote unquote cliche it is. Like there's all these footnotes that refer to different things that happen in folklore. Thank you. So like she has a footnote and it says, okay, a motif of folk literature is guessing the name of a supernatural creature gives power over him. So all these different themes of folklore are running through the book, which I thought was interesting, and I've never really read a memoir that had that. It was also like written not like experimentally, but kind of like every there's no real chapters, but every section is like dream house as. So it's kind of an experimental memoir as well. I ended up giving it 4 stars. I really liked her writing style. I really liked the message of why she was choosing to write this, because she wants people to know that just because you belong in a minority doesn't mean that people within that minority cannot harm you. And she talks a lot about like people think it's like this lesbian utopia land, but there's a lot of shit that happens within the lesbian and gay communities, or you know, within any given communities, that people within that community don't want to acknowledge. Because, so take for example gay marriage. She remembers the first lesbian couple that she knows when they got a divorce 5 years after gay marriage was legalized, and how everyone was like, don't get a divorce because it makes the rest of us look bad, and that's not fair. Like, we need to be treating everyone as if they're humans, and like everyone is human, and straight people get divorces and gay people can get divorces, and that is definitely not something that is talked about often. So I really liked that aspect of it as well. But there was some parts where it was like, okay, this is a little too experimental for me. This isn't an all-time favorite book, but this is a book that everybody should read. I'm really glad that I read it, and my sister's actually going to borrow this now as well, and she's going to, I think, borrow the Angels Game from me too. So she's getting all the, I mean, she's like hearing me talk incessantly about these books, so of course she's going to want to read them. I think that's it for tonight. I'm going to try to read a little bit more because I only read 150 pages today, 200 pages. So I'm a little behind on reading, but I want to do yoga. I did drink all my water, and yeah, I guess this is the end of my first 4 days vlog. So I'll see you in the next one, I guess.